You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Hello. Let's start again. Hello. From an undisclosed location in FEMA Region 3. This is Safety Wars for Cinco de Mayo. Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. How's everybody doing out there? I think I got the camera right today. I hope to God I do. Anyway, been a couple of days here. A lot to talk about. It seems like and I got people on the, talking to people this week. Our parents here in New Jersey, right? Our parents in New Jersey used to torment us, especially in North Jersey, going down the New Jersey Turnpike. Or like, oh, now this is like, I've been hearing this my entire life. Oh, Jimmy, look, the plane's gonna land on the turnpike. Duck. Right? Or something along those lines. And it seems like we all went through this, right? Here we go. Let's see if we get the video up here. And it's like, mind-blowing here. That this would happen here. So let's try to get here. Thank God for dashboard cameras, because I don't think anybody would believe leave the guy.
Safely. So
right?
This is a very scary scene. Inside
so here it is. The guy.
At the moment of impact, the guy is
rewind this, courtesy of CBS News.
Landing safely. So
right?
This is a very scary
and I tell you what, here you go.
Trailer.
Right?
At the moment of impact, the
boom.
guy is behind the wheel. He's actually singing
the guy's,
a song. Then this happens.
Fortunately, we're just here to tell you the smash. The wheel goes right through there, and apparently no serious injuries, nothing like that on the ground. It's just mind-blowing that something like that would happen. So, again, the talking heads today are out there, especially on NJ.com. Now, do we need to start rerouting planes around Newark Airport after... the New Jersey Turnpike. It says 75 years. Is it really 75 years? I don't know when the Newark Airport was open, but here you go. This is from Larry Higgs. Pilots dislike using driver-exposed vehicles on social media, showing how low jetliners were over the New Jersey Turnpike when flights to use Newark Liberty Airport's oldest and shortest runway, Runway 29. So, if I could describe this to the listeners, unless you're there, who aren't familiar, you essentially have 3 runways. You have 2 runways that are, or it might be 1, right, going north and south, parallel to the turnpike, right? And then you have 1 runway, Runway 29, going perpendicular out towards Newark Bay. That right east-west, and I'm taken off of all the runways probably here, and I'm just shocked and landed at all the runways here, and I'm shocked that this hasn't happened sooner here with this. But on the other hand, it's a testament to the air traffic controllers and everybody else involved here that this hasn't happened, that they actually have a good system in place. Really, no problems, and even this was a fail-safely thing. Not a lot of consequences unless you're the truck driver here getting hit with a landing gear with this. So, I don't know. It's a debate that needs to happen as to whether Runway 29 should be abandoned, should be not used, or something like that with that. But, we'll see where this debate goes. Now, this is a Safety Wars exclusive here. So, you always get information, and as the great Jay Allen has said to me, you never know where that information is going to come from. Right, and you never know who's listening. So we had somebody who, if we recall, again, this is another airline issue. We went over the preliminary accident report last program, I think it was, from the NTSB on the, here you go, March 22nd, collision between Jazz Aviation, a fire engine on site, an Air Canada Express flight 8646 at LaGuardia Airport on the runway. So I spoke to someone. Well, I can't really go into details who the person is here. However, it is somebody who is extremely familiar with this here. I won't tell you what he did at the airport. He's recently retired, but extremely familiar with these procedures here. And what he had told me, he said, Jimmy, I listened to your program, right? I was out over the weekend, and hey, he saw me in town. Hey, Jimmy, I need to talk to you. I heard your program on this. I've been meaning to, next time I see you. And basically, right, in the human organizational performance world, you want to be able to fail safely. Set things up so if it fails, well, now we have a guard, we have, things there, so the consequences aren't that bad, right? Or they're mitigated. So a perfect example could be on the cut-resistant gloves, where you're not going to get a full-blown cut, right? But maybe you'll get a boo-boo on set instead of sutures a boo-boo. You want to make sure, like, you're wearing safety glasses. This happened to me, and a nail comes out of a nail gun and hits you in the safety glasses. Was that a failure? Absolutely was a failure, but was able to fail safely. And it's also an attitude where your response to real bad news and how you're going to react to it does matter. So all that stuff goes into that. In this situation, according to the person that familiar with this case, hesitation. There was hesitation in the voice of the air traffic controller. And when you go and you're crossing these runways with a vehicle, right? It's like, okay, okay, Frank, you got to go now. And then Frank jams on the gas and he takes it across. If Frank says, I didn't hear that, or I wasn't sure, or Frank is distracted for a second and doesn't hit that gas and go when he's told to hit the gas and go immediately, now you're at risk in having this type of situation happen. This is just this guy's read on this. I'm not saying this is a big revelation. I think this has been talked about by some other programs out there, but this is what he had communicated to me was, some hesitation. You can't have hesitation doing this. Now, the other thing that we always hear about, and I believe to be 100% true, is that these folks are overworked, underpaid, understaffed. All of this stuff. They don't have enough people doing this. Here, it's a high-stress burnout situation. And as we know, it being one of those many months, right? I believe it's Mental Health Month here. Somebody commemorated that. It's also, there's some other stuff inappropriate that's also commemorated this month. Also starts on them. Why I know this? Because it comes across weird news stuff that I look up. But anyway, they... what am I saying? This, if they need to set up a better system here, and if it's undermanned, understaffed, they need to have more people do this. The problem is that last year, due to the cuts, they cut something like 400 up and coming air traffic controllers, and from the federal budget. But what happens is these, I don't know if they ever hired them back. It takes something like 18 months to train these people. It may take more. So, and they start you out at like an airport in the middle of nowhere, maybe an airfield. Okay, Frank, try this out. Okay, we're gonna try you out here, and let's make sure that we don't have a problem here. And then try Frank out for a little bit. Then you take Frank from that to maybe a regional airport. Maybe like Trenton Mercer County Airport, where you get like 3 flights a day out of. Okay, great. And now we're going to take Frank, and now we're going to move him up, and, that sort of thing. So it's not a rather long process with this. So hopefully, I hope they get to the bottom of this whole situation here so we don't, so we can figure it out, maybe prevent this from happening again. And how do you do that? Maybe there's got to be a better system of doing this, a more foolproof system. But on the other hand, let's remember, this doesn't happen every day. This might have been just one of those no happens type of situation here where you don't know. No, this kind of stuff happens, and let's try to learn from it. If we can improve the system, we can do it. But all indicators with anything with this is always with this. Now, this just came across the wire just now. This is from The Hill by Philip Timotija, maybe. President Trump announced a pause on U.S.'s Project Freedom on Tuesday evening based on a request from Pakistan and other countries, but added the U.S. Navy blockade of ships in the Strait of Hormuz will remain in place. And this is from the White House, apparently. Based on the requests of Pakistan and other countries, the tremendous military success that we have had during the campaign against the country of Iran, and additionally the fact that great progress has been made toward the complete and final agreement with the representatives of Iran, we have mutually agreed that while the blockade will remain in full force and effect, Project Freedom, The movement of ships through the Strait of Hormuz will be paused for a short period of time to see whether or not the agreement can be finalized and signed, the president wrote on a post on Truth Social. And that just came out before airtime here. So, it's a little bit frustrating, this whole situation here. A lot of frustration. I'm just interested if next week they're going to talk about the aliens, right? I don't mean the illegal aliens. I mean the aliens, meaning from the sky. Is what they are. My thinking is that somebody broke the time barrier and was able to go back in time. And these may be our future selves here with this. That's my opinion. Or if they're from another planet, one, what the hell are they doing here? Why are they interested in this? Is this sort of like a To Serve Man episode from the Twilight Zone? Well, what do you mean, Jim? I don't know that reference. That was where an alien culture came here to use us as livestock and eat us. And To Serve Man was the copy of their cookbook. Right? I don't know. Why are they here? Hopefully it's for altruistic reasons, but I don't know. Remember, some of the current theories on primate evolution, specifically Neanderthals, was that they were very aggressive, number one. And number two, they drove man to the brink of extinction. We're talking roughly less than 100 individuals. And then all of a sudden something happened to them, whether it was disease, whether it was the Ice Age, whether it was something else, wiped them out. And now here we are here. So, Now, this is time to reroute. What the hell is that going to do? I mean, when I passed by there the other day, I heard this just as I was passing on the radio, passing this on Monday morning. I said, wow, I'm right here. Let me take a look. I didn't see any damage. But again, it was sun wasn't up yet. But what did I see? A whole boatload of Spirit airline jets just lined up on the side of the New Jersey Turnpike. There was like 4 or 5 of them lined up there. Now, my question is this. What the hell is this going to impact the airline industry? Because right now, you have one less airline, which means everybody else's prices are going to go up. Right? And for people to go out there and say, well, Spirit was a budget airline, that's debatable. One, it was a la carte, and if you want no frills and you want to sit by the restroom, then you had a cheap rate. But at any type of good seat, anywhere else, you had to pay here with this. Now, we're going to look at some of the other news out there here. Right, not only ocean news tonight, we're going to go and we're going to check it all out tonight. Because there are some really interesting things out there going on, and we'll get back to you in a minute here.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
SafetyFM.com.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that is designed to actually address and assess your hazards and liabilities and is not standardized baloney from generations ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call me, Jim Pozal, at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you are receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces. OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Pozal with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy.
All right, we talked about this last year, and we were one of the people, I'm going to take credit for this. Right, we talk about news days, if not weeks, if not months ahead of time sometimes. And the question, and it's been since, I believe, the 1800 or 1810 census, has been, are they asking too much information with this stuff, with the U.S. Census? And there's arguments for and against, and my argument is against some of these questions on here is that it's being used to manipulate and divide us. And the last thing that we need in this country is more division. We need people to be united. We need people to be working together. We need people to be serving their fellow human beings if they choose to do it. I choose to do it, and there are some people that don't want to do it. Okay, that's their business. I choose to help other people, and, with some rational self-interest thrown in there, and we're not going to be pathological altruists, which we are often asked to be, right? And because that's detrimental. You can't help anybody else if you're going to sabotage yourself. And this is from May 1st, last week, right? And isn't it appropriate that they release it on May Day, right? This press release, that communist holiday, in the rest of the world. I'm sorry, it is. Check out the history behind it. Right, it was It was meant to originally commemorate the struggle of workers, which is a legitimate holiday. We celebrate it on Labor Day, but then it gets co-opted by the red world out there. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is, folks. With that, and isn't this appropriate? Right, the U.S. Census Bureau today invited households in select parts of the Huntsville, Alabama, and Spartanburg, South Carolina metro areas to begin responding online to the 2026 census test. The online questionnaire is live and ready for residents to log in and submit their responses. Now, let's see. Now, then you can use your computer, your smartphone, and everything else. Responses are safe, secure, and protected by federal law. And, right. They have to they wait 70 years to release it, but it's not really secure, right? Not really confidential here. So let's see if we can get exactly what this is. So here, all right, so this is the response page. Respond to the 2026 census test today and use the census ID in your mailing list. So how to respond. If your household responds to this, then please respond by August 31st. Census takers may take a visit if you don't do it. So it's mandatory. I'm not saying anybody to disobey the law like some other people are. All right, so let's see. Planning. The 2026 census test will talk to us about how to improve. All right, so they have an operational plan here. The 2030 Census Operational Plan is a high-level document that explains the operational design for this. So what I want here, I'm going to go and questions for the 2030 census. All right. And strategic disclosure test, right? And let's see here. What is that test? All right. I want to get a copy of that test. So here's something, right? The test includes the same questions as the American Community Survey, which collects detailed demographic, social, economic, and housing data. The survey will take around 40 minutes to complete and includes questions on name, race, sex, citizenship, and education. Households that do not respond to the initial invitation may receive up to 4 reminders in the mail. Beginning in June, census takers, including specially trained U.S. Postal Service workers, will begin conducting in-person follow-up visits to collect responses from households who have not yet responded. Postal workers are taking part in follow-up visits as part of the 2026 census test. So let's see, what are the questions are they asking us? $40 minutes seems to be a little bit more than just those questions that they're answering. So what we're going to do is this. We want the American Community Survey questionnaire. Let's see. American Community Survey. All right, so let's go and find out what this is. The American Community Survey releases new data every year in the form of estimates and a variety of tables, tools, and analytical reports. Here's the 2024 data release. right? New and notable. All these data files. I'm sorry, folks. I did not have this ready to go. Here. And let's try this. Here. And this is some of the data. So here we have age, right, and sex. Okay, age and sex. Right? Race. Now, this is, in my opinion, a completely useless question, especially with the advent of DNA technology and things of that nature. I mean, I had it done. I went into why I had it done here, my DNA profile. And it turns out there are parts of me that I had no idea existed here in my background. Here. Hispanic or Latino origin. Ancestry. So it's not only your race, they want to know what your ancestry is. Your citizenship, your year of entry, foreign-born place of birth. The place of birth. Migration residence 1 year ago. In other words, did you move? Your commuting, journey to work, place of work. Relationship to householder. Grandparents and grandchildren characteristics. Household type. Marital status, marital history, fertility. School enrollment. Educational attainment. Language spoken at home. Poverty status. Disability status, income, earnings, veteran status, period of military service, food stamps, employment status, work, experience, class of worker, industry and occupation, housing characteristics, group quarters, health insurance coverage, which I already have from the IRS, by the way, computer and internet use, citizen voting age population. Okay, great. Well, Jim, why do we need this? Right? I'm not. No, you hear that. Well, why? No, I asked. Well, why do we need this? Well, Jim, don't you know they have to do all different kinds of planning and everything else, and that leads to our next story here on this. Well, okay. So, where do we go here with this? So here I had this all ready to go. So we have heard much to do here about, I've had time to write, as you know. All right, so usually everything's from the hip. Today, we, again, wrote things out. So, have you heard about this 2027 AI technology installed in cars? Where if basically we have fitness for duty, we're familiar with that as safety professionals. Now they're going to have fitness to drive, managed of course by AI, because AI is everything now. We can't. Of course, why would we have a human being to make decisions? Right? We're going to have AI tell us. We're not going to have a human being tell us what to do. We're going to have the computer tell us what to do. Really? Really? There's a phrase very inside this whole debate. Now we should make everyone stop for a second. All right, this is on the technology now, starting in model year 2027, that it's going to scan your face and make a determination whether you're fit to drive, and either not allow the car to start, shut down the car possibly in the future, not initially, put a governor on the speed that the car is allowed to go, and God knows what else. It's not really clear, so some of this is speculation here. And I'm shocked. This was a law signed in 2021 by Joe Biden. I'm shocked that the Republicans out there did not automatically start the debate with this and say, well, we don't, the surveillance state here, which is what we have in the census here, is now they were setting up a surveillance state. Wait until you have, what else are we going to have? Are we going to have a social credit score? So not only do we have a credit score, we're going to have, okay, I can see that because there's loans. Is this person worthy to, well, okay, great. That's important, credit, and it's all done by private industry. Now we're going to have AI determine whether we're fit to drive or not. There's a lot of reasons why you drive a car, like emergency. Anyway, let me go in here. There's a phrase buried inside this whole debate that should make everyone stop for a second. Not drunk driving, not road safety, not not technology. The phrase is this: your car will decide whether you are fit to drive. This is not a small technological upgrade. This is civilization level change in relationship between people and machines. And before anyone says, well, if you're not impaired, you have nothing to worry about, slow down. Take a sec. Think about it. We've had 5 years to think about it, and we haven't. Well, let's think about it in the next, May, so 2027 model year starts in about July for most manufacturers. Maybe a little bit earlier, but basically July, August, right? So, right, because history is filled with systems that started with, we're only targeting dangerous people, and then slowly expanded into, we're monitoring everybody else just in case. That's where this conversation needs to get serious. Now let's be clear about something up front. Drunk driving is a real thing. We've all known somebody who has either died because of a drunk driver, been convicted of drunk driving, or has gotten into a car accident or injured people because of drunk driving. That's a real thing here, folks. I remember back before they had a lot of these laws, what the shit people used to do, right? I grew up in that transition area, right? Between old and new. And the stuff people used to do was unbelievable. And they also, at the same time, raised the drinking age because that was going to solve everything from 18 to 21. Oh, now that's going to solve everything. That's how it was sold to the American public. Oh, this is good. Well, we only have to do this and it's good. Just like with COVID. Oh, you only have to put on the mask and you're 100%, the impression was, you're 100% protected. And that's what Dr. Fauci said. They got it. Check the records. As a safety professional, you know that that's not true. But, okay, right? Fatigue kills people. Distracted driving kills people. Impaired driving kills people. Drunk driving. Right? Just working around heavy equipment, industrial sites, and everything else we do, right? Human impairment is a hazard. If you're a safety professional, I can almost guarantee you had to throw somebody off the site for drinking. Right? Question is not whether or not impairment exists. The question is who decides what impairment is. So with drunk driving, what do? You have interlocks installed in the cars. I know some employers that as a condition of employment, they make employees, I don't know if it's legal or not, but I know that they do this. They make employees do a breathalyzer. They have them enrolled in a drug test. I know a client who went out and got somebody certified in how to do drug testing and how to do the breathalyzers. They set up a thing and said, guess what? We're going to do all this on site. We have it all set up and everything else. Everybody who comes on the site does a breathalyzer. And usually it was the same 3 or 4 people. Well, guess what? You're not fit for work today. We really can't fire you, but guess what? You're not allowed on site. Right, because they knew they'd probably get a wrongful firing suit against them. Right? So in the future, so things have a tendency of evolving here. Right? The future we're worried about here is about continuous behavioral surveillance inside your own TV. Now, the other wars that recently went off the air and restarted again under another name, because of course, we never expected that to happen, right? Never expected that to happen. We got to go after that person. Well, guess what? He's going to shut down and start somewhere else. That's Alex Jones, right? There, the other wars he used to own. So the future they're talking about is a continuous behavior surveillance inside your own vehicle. Your eyes, your face, your movements, your reaction time, your steering corrections, your blinking patterns, your attention, potentially your voice, potentially biometrics. Your car becomes less of a machine and more of a supervisor, and think about how radical that is. You're in the workplace, right? Are you okay with surveillance cameras watching your every move there? A lot of workplaces are like that. I know of a lot of them. I've had to set up systems like that already, where we have people being monitored all day. And it's usually, right, all day for safety issues. Hell, we got one guy relieving himself one time on full video. They had, so at the end of the shift, they were reviewing the video, and guess what? The guy's there, and guess what? They had now shared that every time that my client comes on site, they have a guy. Is this guy going to be here? No. And I used, one time they did it with me. I said, I don't know. You want to do a, like in the old Porky's movie where we're going to have a lineup? I don't know. Am I dating myself with the Porky's reference here with the lineup? But anyway, you're steering, right? So now they're watching you all the time. How much does it drive you nuts at work when you have an auditor over there who has no idea how to do your job, who's watching you? Do you think does that drive you nuts? It drives most people nuts. So now we're going to always have an auditor? Years ago, we were told that there's microphones in your TV. Samsung then admitted it. Oh, that'll never happen. We don't have that. Well, guess where they got them? It was recently revealed, and this was on Coast to Coast 20-some years ago, where with all different types of surveillance techniques, literally in the wall, in the outlets. Now, the government admits that they could do that. Your car becomes less of a machine and more of a supervisor. Think of how radical it is. So let's talk about what cars represent. What have cars represented in the past? Freedom, movement, self-determination. Joseph, from the Heartland Institute, the old president. I just had it on the tip of, well, the new one is James Taylor. New, meaning the last 5 years. But the old one, Joseph, I'm sorry, Joseph. Don't have your name. Forgot your name. Your last name. Well, again, James Taylor was on this program, right? They had said over dinner, well, you don't realize how important the car was to our development. Not only is it like the suburbs created because of the car, and now you can drive. Now your dating pool and your marriage pool expanded, and I said, yeah, I believe that, because my wife and I live 90 miles away from each other. No, actually not, like 60 miles away from each other. We wouldn't have met if it weren't for a online dating platform and a car. So now we have freedom, movement, self-determination. You decide where to go, when to leave, whether to take a risk, whether to pull over, whether to keep driving tired to get your child home, whether to evacuate during an emergency. The machine obeyed you. Now the inversion. The machine evaluates you. It's not science fiction anymore, folks. This is not George Orwell's 1984. The supporters of this technology will say, well, if it saved lives, isn't it worth it? You have the thing. If one life is saved, then it's worth it. Really? That's not really how life works, folks. We have allowed here that the fact that there are trade-offs. Is it possible to reduce all risk and eliminate all risk? Yes, the answer is yes. But then you have zero economic activity. Who wants to live in a cage? Right? That's the hardest part of this debate, because emotionally that argument lands. If only we could save one life. At what cost? Because right? Is it $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $1 million, $10 million, $1 billion? Let's take this out of this context. We have the medical aid in dying policies out there. In Canada, there was a report from LifeSite News that a woman an 80-year-old woman went in for a backache, and the person admitting her into the hospital or somebody else said, oh, has anyone spoken to you about medical aid in dying, and euthanasia, she said, I got a backache. What are you talking about? I had to go through that with a family member before. Oh, make sure you have that directive. Make sure it's in there so we know what to do. Right? And if you write that directive very explicitly, guess what? They're going to do exactly what the plan says. Exactly. That's your plan. You're going to follow it exactly. What if some of that plan doesn't apply anymore? If some facts change? What have you? Now you're forced to deal with that plan. And would they use it in the face of cost, right? But safety systems are not, right? So nobody wants dead family on the highways. A family in my town lost 2 people due to a impaired driver recently on spring break. Nobody wants drunk drivers killing innocent people. But safety systems are not automatically good simply because they are called safety systems and they use the moniker safety. Oh, well, it's for safety, so therefore we need to spend money on this, so we need to do this, we gotta make it foolproof because it's safety. And guess what? Who encourages that? The regulators often and the attorneys encourage that. And maybe gung-ho safety professionals also. So you have people at companies who don't give a damn about their employees, whether they go home hurt or not, alive or not. You have supervisors in place that don't care. Well, guess what? You also have the other end. There. Just as bad, just as dangerous, could be argued. So every system changes human behavior. That's what the history of things is. If a system is put into place, what happens? People adapt. People work around systems. People lose trust in the systems. How's that? Who are you going to sue when this system breaks down and makes the wrong decision? Like, for example, where it's going is it's going to put a governor on your car, not going to allow it to go over a certain speed limit. Let's say that you have an emergency in the middle of nowhere, and you have an emergency. Remember, we have a lot of states have them, a lot of them don't. How long is it going to take for an ambulance to get there? How long is it going to take for a fire to get there? How long is it going to take for the police to get there or to respond? What if you're being tailgated and you're being chased? What if you're being brake checked? A lot of stuff happens on the road. Are you now going to have this system? Well, you know what? There's a red light. Blah, 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 blah. Don't go through the red light. It's going to automatically stop you because you're coming towards the red light. But it doesn't realize that there's a guy behind you chasing you with a gun in the car with a road rage incident. Oh, now you're going to say, well, Jim, that's like the Black Swan event. Oh, really? Apparently you haven't been out of the house for the last 35 years. Because I think that's all happened. We had one guy, I was stopped at a red light. A guy came up to the car with a gun. I saw him brandishing a gun, and you know what the hell I did? I freaking gunned it, right? So to speak. Sorry for the pun. I floored it, I got out of there, and it was a red light. My old man says, Jimmy, what are you doing? That's a red light. Are you nuts? I said, you didn't see the guy walking towards us with a gun? A couple years later, I had to make a decision with my old man. I get a call from my from my mom. She said, Jimmy, you know, are you out of work yet? Are you off site? I said, yeah, Mom, I'm off site. I'm going home to see Debbie. She says, Jimmy, stop by the house. Your father's not feeling well. Okay, what? Can you be more specific? No, you're not feeling well. Oh, come on over. I come over the house, and this is in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Dad, what's wrong? My heart, my chest, feel a little tight. I said, okay. You got your wallet? Yeah. You got an overnight bag? Bring your pajamas and bring a couple of things. I said, no, screw it. I'll bring it later on. Get in the car. Oh, Jimmy, I don't want to get in the car. Dad, get in the car. We are going to the hospital. Well, why don't we call 911? I said, if you're having an episode, I could get to the hospital in under 15 minutes. Right now, we call 911. It's going to take 15 minutes for the ambulance to get here. And then it's going to take another 15. No, by the time you get there, it's 45 minutes. Right now, you're mobile. You took 2 aspirins. Get in the car. Oh, how are you going to go? It's rush hour. I know how to go. And by the way, we're going to stop by. I know the way to go. So we're passing by every emergency squad on the way to the hospital. Okay, I got him there. Under 15 minutes, got him, pulled him right in, got him in. He lived for another 10 years. Good outcome. Guess what? This system wouldn't have let that happen. Both of those situations. People work around systems. Okay, can you imagine some of the workarounds here? You have a camera. What's going to stop that camera from someone creating a real-life picture of you to post in front of that camera? And it working. It might work. All this other stuff. Now, here's the problem. When a false positive happens, right, and any other system, so you go on Yelp or some other review website, and you get a... oh, yeah, this place is really wonderful to eat at. And you go there, and it's like dog food run through a air fryer. Right? Oh, well, then, okay, well, then guess what? We're not bad recommendation. Oh, well, it's dog food run through a air fryer. Okay, well, that happens. What happens when it's a vehicle control system? False positive. You may lose mobility, employment, or even physical safety, as you mentioned. What if the system thinks you're impaired because you're exhausted after a 14-hour construction shift? Think about it. I have to drive 10 minutes to the hotel. I'm tired. I had a long-ass day. 12-hour shift. 14-hour shift. I'm going to go from point A to point B. I asked myself, am I fit to drive? Right now, if I'm not fit to drive, you know what to do? I hang out in that parking lot, maybe go in the parking lot across the street where it's safe, and let me take a 10-minute nap. That's what I do. Okay, now I get up, I'm a little bit refreshed, I go over to the hotel room. What if your blood sugar crashes? That's a moot point here. Your blood, right? Bad example, but your blood sugar is starting to crash. How's that going to be interpreted? You're impaired, but there's a blood sugar crash and there's a blood sugar crash. What if you have PTSD? What if you're autistic and your eye movement patterns don't match the algorithm's assumptions? What if you're crying? What if you're having a panic attack? You're not feeling well. You're sick. What if you're elderly? What if you had LASIK surgery or other eye surgery? And your eye, is an AI going to pick that up? How's that going to impact that? What if you're on a legally prescribed medication that impacts your eyes? What if you got terrible news? What if you're injured? Maybe this is the only way you can get help is by driving and you're injured. What if you're driving during evacuation? I tell you what, with the California wildfires about 5 or 6 years ago, there were people who they were not driving in the right-hand lane 55 miles an hour with a left-hand blinker on. We'll leave it at that. And then what happens? The machine says no. That's where autonomy enters the conversation, because autonomy means the ability to make decisions even under imperfect conditions, right? And this is going to assume there's perfect conditions. That's what machines do. And what worries people is not merely the technology, it's the precedent. Once society accepts that a machine, may continuously evaluate whether you are mentally or physically qualified to operate your own vehicle, what gets next? Does insurance get access? Right now, people are rejecting insurance. I'm one of them that has the tracker. Does law enforcement get that? Does the manufacturer get that? Does your medical status be linked to mobility permissions? What about how about your employer? Does the manufacturer get access to that? Yeah, obviously. Does your medical status become linked to mobility permissions? People hear safety technology. Critics hear continuous compliance monitoring. Do we really want to live under that? And frankly, they're not crazy, because we already live in an age of severe surveillance capitalism. Your phone tracks you, your television tracks you, your browser tracks you, your apps track you, your little find a key device on your key ring that I use, hell, that tracks you better than anything I found out. The workplace tracks your productivity. Your watch tracks your sleep and heart rate. Now, the last private space may still many people still psychologically associate with freedom, even though it's not, because you have that little wire, that little fin, dorsal fin on the roof that tracks you. Right? Now it's another sensor platform. Supporters argue we already accept airbags and automatic braking, and yeah, that's true, but airbags don't judge your mental state. ABS doesn't psychologically profile you. Lane assist does not determine whether you deserve transportation, which, by the way, some argue is a constitutional right. This is fundamentally different because it moves from passive safety into behavioral governance, and that's a line we should not be crossing. Once you cross that line, the system becomes less about protecting you from accidents, more about managing human behavior itself. Now let me say something equally unpopular. Machines are terrible at context. You've heard this. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but a picture will never give you context. A picture or a movie will never explain why it made sense to do whatever at that particular time, which is what we have to deal with in safety. Why did that happen? Why did it make sense for the worker to do that? If you're actually interested in not whitewashing something, right? Is it an investigation or is it a cover-up? Humans understand context, are better able to do that. A human police officer might recognize this guy is exhausted because he's evacuating his family from a wildfire. An algorithm may simply detect erratic eye movement and delayed reaction time. Machine logic is not human judgment. And from a HOP perspective, this matters enormously because modern safety science teaches something very important. Humans are not the problem to control. Let's repeat that. Humans are not the problem to control. Humans are the solution to harness. And that distinction still matters. Good systems support human adaptability. Bad systems attempt to eliminate human discretion entirely. And there's another danger nobody is talking about enough: over-reliance. The more technology intervenes, the more human beings psychologically offload responsibility onto automation. We've already seen this with autopilot systems. Drivers become passive monitors. Attention degrades. Skill atrophy develops. And that's when the system fails, because the human is suddenly expected to instantly re-engage at a high level. That's not how cognition works. There's also a political dimension here, whether people like it or not, because trust matters. If the public begins believing my car is spying on me, then adoption resistance will explode. People will disable systems, hack systems, distrust manufacturers, distrust regulators, maybe not buy a new car and drive that old junker and clunker around. And once trust collapses, safety collapses with it. Now, to be fair, if we go over You can catch this on the podcast. Some version of impairment detection may eventually save lives. Maybe passive alcohol detection becomes extremely accurate. Maybe fatigue detection improves. Maybe emergency intervention systems prevent catastrophic crashes. That's possible. Technology is not an inherent evil, but freedom and safety have always existed in tension. Always. Right? We have the social contract where we're going to give up some of our freedoms so our society can function. So we're going to have a working government, which we haven't had here in a long time on the federal level. But freedom and safety have always existed in tension and societies get into dangerous territory when they start assuming any reduction in risk automatically justifies any reduction in liberty. Because if absolute safety becomes the highest value, eventually autonomy disappears. Where do we stop? No motorcycles, no ladders, no football, no firearms, no alcohol, no risk, no discretion, no independent judgment. Eventually, the safest human is a monitored human. And that's the philosophical crossroads we're approaching. You want to be totally safe? They have prison cells for that, for you to be totally safe. You get 3 hots and a cot. You may or may not get medical attention. Talk to Peter Schiff's family on that, if you're not popular, right? So the debate is not, do we want fewer drunk drivers? Of course we do. The real debate is how much human autonomy are we willing to surrender to algorithmic systems in exchange for promised safety? And once we surrender it, how do we get it back? It ain't coming back, guys. Because history suggests something very important. Surveillance systems never shrink. They expand. Whether it's the census, starting in 1810, or it's this today. That's the real conversation, not the technology. The relationship between citizens, machines, corporations, government, and control. And whether your vehicle remains your tool or becomes your supervisor. And that is why this debate is much bigger than cars alone. This is not about cars. This is our relationship together between each other. The social contract. That's what I got tonight, folks. For Safety Wars, this is Jim Pozal. With your support and God's help, I will be back tomorrow.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
SafetyFM.com.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and 1 consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.